Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
All right. All right. So we are live. Welcome to the Hardpill Network, and I am your host, Armstrong Sire. And the Hardpill Network is a podcast where we teach men how to, become better in every realm of human endeavor. And I'm talking relationship, I'm talking fitness, I'm talking money, and what have you. So welcome to the show. Rudy, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me be part of the podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I also want to give a shout out to the Fresh and Fit. I also want to give a shout out to the Whatever podcast. And yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to the Tate brothers. They inspired me to create this platform. And I want to say a big shout out to them. Also, quick announcement. This channel is not monetized. So if you want to support the show, you can do that through our PayPal. The link is in the description below. So do well to support the show. Every donation you make will be used to give you all a better quality show. We'll get better mics and lightings and cameras and whatever. Also follow Hardware Network on Instagram, on Facebook. Subscribe to our channel, share the videos to your friends, your families. Okay, and also we'll be needing a chat mod. So we need a chat mod with our future shows. So DM us on Instagram if you want to help us. All right, so back to the show. Rudy, can you introduce yourself to the people and tell us what you do?
Yeah, just one second. My dog's barking. Sorry about that. But yeah, what I do? I started on TikTok about a couple years ago. One second. I'm sorry. One
No,
second.
no problem.
I'm just gonna. Okay, here we go. Yeah, he's quiet now. Yeah, I started on TikTok about a couple years ago, giving advice, and I think what separates me from everybody else is that my advice comes from the end of the marriage. Because again, I'm 46. I started this whole platform maybe a couple years ago, and
Okay.
I am in the after I've been married. I was married 16 years. I've been divorced. I rebuilt my life. I lost everything, and now I went back into the dating world and had a successful dating life. So I had a lot of experiences, and I had a lot that I had been through, and I came out a better person. A lot of those events are pretty devastating. So I decided to start sharing those stories, and that's where things started picking up. So I really blew up on TikTok. That's where the following is, like, I believe, approaching 300K. Then
Wow.
I decided to move over to YouTube, and I just started that maybe a year ago. So it's slowly picking up, and it really, I guess, what people appreciate about the advice that I give is that it's real. I've been there, I lived it. I was that husband, I was that bad husband, and that's what connects with a lot of people. So my job is to really help men get through divorces if they're in the process, and help them rebuild their lives, and also coach young men who are about to be married and don't know the full who does really at that age, but just know the full understanding of what to prepare for and what they're walking into.
Wow, good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
can you tell us a little bit about your background? Your origin story, how you were raised, and all of that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and more or less it's a Hispanic culture here. It
Wow.
really embedded with religion, Catholicism, and pretty poor. I come from poverty. My parents were cotton pickers, believe it or not, in Oklahoma. So one of some of my first memories are me on my dad's shoulders with his son on our backs as he's picking cotton. So my dad never wanted me to be in the field. So he said, I want you to go to school, become educated, and be not be out here like I was. So I come from nothing, so it's very humble. I'm used to not having nothing, but I really just grown. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and
Wow.
what I do for a living, I don't disclose my employer, but I'm an instructional designer. I teach for a living. I teach adult learning, and uh,
Wow.
and that's what I do, and that's what I've always done. And now I'm over here in the social media space, but I'm also, like I said, I was married. I have three children. Daughter's 19, my son's 16, and I have a young son who's 7 months old. So
Wow.
I'm blessed with a family, and I'm also engaged again with my fiance. So, like I said, I come from nothing, and I'm glad that all the hard work my mom and dad provided to get me here, I'm making them proud, and I'm making the most of it.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
So I want to know, did you grow up in a two-parent household?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And your parents are still together till now?
No, my dad passed away last year, but they were together 45 years.
Wow, wow, wow. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Okay. Can you share your story with us? The story of your own marriage before you got divorced.
Oh, well, I got married very young at 21 years old. And a lot of it was, the high school sweetheart love. We did love each other, but it was really pressure from family that hurry up and get married. It's more like a cultural thing down here. So we did rush it, but were going to get married, but we just kind of went along to please everybody. So we got married at 21. And like I said, we were married 16 years. But if you include the dating years, we were together at least 20. But again, we got married very young, and I didn't really know what it was like or what a husband was supposed to be or behave like. So the first few
Mm,
years were fun, but then as life started coming along and we started having kids, that's when the stress started coming in, and that's when the lack of communication wasn't present. We were both waiting to talk. We weren't listening to each other whenever things were going bad, and it was just a years of just bad mistakes and years of just really just not thinking things through and being having any empathy on what she was going through and vice versa. And it was just really rough. Like I said, there was a lot of bad financial decisions we made. We wanted to keep up with our friends and family who were buying cars and buying homes, and we didn't want to be the ones like lacking behind. So we got into
yeah.
debt, and debt was a big critical piece of why
And
the marriage ended, why the marriage was so rocky, working all the time and just stressed out of our minds because we both were working. As much as I wanted her to be a stay-at-home wife, that couldn't happen because we
mm,
both needed to work. But yeah, it was it was the marriage ended. Like I said, I saw we were going to counseling, and I saw that none of the coaching was really taking effect. So I decided to go ahead and just say, let's go ahead and file. And we did. She didn't leave me for another man. I didn't leave her for another woman. We just called it quits and went from
mm.
there. But yeah, I mean, we have a great relationship now. We're great net co-parents. She's remarried. I'm engaged. So, we moved on well, and the kids are doing great.
Wow, that's nice. Good to hear.
Thanks.
So I want to know, did getting married early play the part to you being divorced?
Yeah,
And
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because I didn't know what a husband is or what a husband's
mm,
supposed to do. And I had no idea what was expected of me. So it was really just kind of finding myself because at 21, no one knows what they want to do in life or who they are, especially who they are. I always
mm,
say on my platforms that I want everybody shouldn't get married so young. They should wait till they're at least in their late 20s, maybe 30s, because there's a huge transition from the young man you are at 19, 20, 21. You're completely different in your 30s.
exactly.
You're a
Yeah.
different man. And sometimes people who get married young, they grow together, or in most cases, they grow apart. And that's what happened with us. We became two different people. We didn't see eye to eye in a lot of things. And that's just a natural thing that happens. And, but again, not knowing how to communicate, not having any really realistic expectations of what marriage is supposed to be was also a part of that. And really, just like I said, not understanding what a husband's supposed to be, because it's not just a term. I mean, there's a lot of like behavioral things a man should look into and focus on when becoming one. And I had no idea what that was. I didn't, like I said, I just moved from my parents' house to being a man of my own house. So I had no idea what that transition is. And I always tell young men to hold off to get married. Go live your 20s, find out who you are. You go out there and fail and build
Mm,
yourself up, have some heartache, have some heartbreak, and rebuild yourself up and just find out who you are, live out your passions, live a little before settling into a life. And that would
mm.
really help with overcoming the problems that happen in life when you're married.
Okay, so you mentioned not understanding each other in the marriage. So what other key factors played into you played into the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, like I said, it was a few things. It was stress because we got into debt. Like I mentioned, debt really played a critical factor in our marriage ending. It was also the not communicating piece. We were both very emotional, and we weren't listening to each other. Like I said, we are waiting to talk, and we just didn't appreciate one another. And
Mm,
no one when a person gets married, you think, how can it get to that point? How can it get so bad? It was really just stress because, like I said, you're always making ends meet, you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have any money to go on dates with
Mm,
your spouse. You can't go on vacations because you're house poor. We bought a big house, so we have a big beautiful house, but we can't go anywhere. We can't go on dates or vacations. We have nice cars, but we can barely make the payments. So it was really just this corner that we painted ourselves in that really contributed to it. And again, that stress starts to pile up. And again, it was just a lack of teamwork and a lack of accountability as well, because there are some things that I had done wrong or was pretty bad at, and I never really took accountability. I always blamed her and vice versa. But it was really just financial and the communication piece that led to the demise, so to speak.
oh, okay.
Hmm.
So, at the age of 21, some men have not gotten their shit together. Some men are still
Yeah.
out there struggling. So, how was it possible for you to, have your shit together and get married at the age of 21? Like, I want to know about that.
Well, I didn't have my shit together. I had no idea what I was doing, like I said, and it was a different culture back then. I told men not to do this, but back then it was happy wife, happy life. That was
Mm,
a model that we were taught in my generation, and that's not the case. You don't want to do that. It's happy spouse, happy house. You have to make each other happy. But like I
yeah.
said, I didn't. I didn't know anything about finances. I didn't know anything about what these podcasts preach nowadays for men to be accountable in their health and their frame and their money. No, I had no idea. My understanding of what a marriage was is what I saw growing up. Okay, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to take care of her, and I'm going to be present with my kids, and have cookouts. That was my idea. So all my dreams or anything I had aspired to be or to become, I put that aside. It was more or
Wow.
less like I need to be a man and bring in the money. So that was my idea of what a husband was. So that's what I
Mm,
did. I went to work and I worked overtime and just brought in the money as best I could, but it wasn't enough. But I didn't have my shit together. And like I said, most young men don't, especially at 21. And again, that was just like a learning curve for me. And I eventually learned it after the divorce and through trials and trial and error. But that's how I learned. So I didn't have it together.
wow. Okay. So, during the course of divorce, I heard that men lose a lot of, their stuff. Like they lose like 50% of what they have goes to the woman. So, like, how much did you lose during the divorce?
Nothing really half. I mean, because like I said, and I'll explain. I know what you're talking about, and I'll get into that in a bit. But for us, like I said, we both worked. We both had 401ks. We both had one house, so everything was split down the middle. She didn't touch my 401k. I didn't touch hers. As far as the
Okay.
house, I bought her out, so I lived in the house for a few months after she moved out. But I
Okay.
gave her all the furniture. I go, take whatever you want. Like I said, it wasn't a heated or an ugly divorce. It was more or less we've been together almost 20 years. We're going to make this transition and do what's best for us. Let's go ahead and just be acclimatable about this. So I let her pick everything. It was mutual 50-50. So it was 50-50 for me. And the cost of the divorce, believe it or not, was only $4,000. That's it. That's all it
Wow.
was for me. And for what you're talking about, yes, there are men out there who do lose everything or most of everything. Those are the situations where they have a stay-at-home wife, where like he goes and he has a career in the military, or he's
Mm,
the sole breadwinner, and she is just a stay-at-home spouse. And 10, 15, 20 years go by, now there's a divorce. Those situations, it does make sense that she gets something in return, especially after the divorce, because she took care of the kids while he worked. So
mm.
in those situations, that's common. But for most people who work, both people are working, who aren't one percenters, that's what I lost. So I didn't lose a lot. I lost half of everything. So if that makes any sense.
Okay. So, just to get things straight, like she was also 21 years, right? When you both got married.
Yeah, we were both 21 years old. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay. So, like, okay, how did this affect you? Like in your work, in your relationship with people, like how did it affect you and how did you overcome it?
Overcome what exactly?
Like the divorce and
Well, well, like I said, it was a lot of mistakes I made, and she did as well. I've been more vocal about my mistakes on social media, not hers, because again, she doesn't have a platform, and I don't want to paint her in a bad light. So
yeah.
it was really when at around the 14th year, I knew it was bad, right? And I knew that
Wow.
I had to do something. So I went to therapy and talked things out, and I finally realized at that point that it was my fault. There's a lot of things that were my fault, and I needed to own up to that. and I did, and it took some time, but I did. But the divorce was my decision. Like I said, I was the one who said we need to end this because we're just wasting our time. And
Mm,
it was probably the hardest time in my life, probably the lowest and most depressing, because she then vilified me, which I've forgiven her for that. But when I said let's get divorced, she more or less told everybody all the bad things I had done,
wow.
and including work and friends. So I lost all my friends, all my lifelong friends that I thought I was going to grow old with. And I'm talking friends that I've known since high school. They
Wow.
all abandoned me, and they all went to her aid. So I
Wow.
had nobody. My family, who is embedded down here in San Antonio with Catholicism and religion, I was more or less giving the family name shame, because
Yeah.
a divorce in in the religious world is more or less an abomination. So
Yeah.
my family wasn't there to support me, and then at work, she was telling everybody at work, because we worked in the same place. So I had nobody. My work, people turned against me. Again, family turned against me, and friends turned against me. So it was the lowest point of my life. And I'm not gonna lie, I went through some pretty bad depression. It got so bad that I got shingles in my back, because I was so stressed and full of anger and just full of rage that I thought hate can get me through that. And no, hate destroys your body. Hate destroys your body, and it makes you lose your hair, and it just ruins your body. So don't do that.
Your
Uh,
mind.
yeah. So I eventually just kind of what kept me going was my kids. I wanted
Mm,
to be an example to them. I wanted to show them, like, hey, you can lose everything. You can be at this low moment, not have anything, and you can still come back and be a better man. So that was my main goal. That was my beacon. I eventually had to sell the house, and I moved back with my parents, and then that was an absolute zero. That was an absolute nothing. Had nothing. But I just decided that this is what I wanted. This is the part of the story where I lose everything. But how am I going to go about and handle this? And again, with my kids being the example that I wanted to show them that this can be done, I just saw the world differently, because again, for the first time in my life, I was Rudy. I was Rudy the husband, Rudy the dad since I was 21. So for the first time in my adult life at 39 years old, I had the chance to introduce myself to people as just Rudy. Like, and the other
mm,
part of that is I didn't know idea who I was, because I was a husband for 21 years since I was 21 years old. So who was single Rudy? Who was Rudy
mm,
without the wife and kids? I don't know. I had no damn idea of what I'd like to do for fun. I had no idea what I loved. So it was more or less like a journey of discovering who I was, and that was scary, but at the same time, it was fun. I got to meet new people, make new friends, and I just had this positivity, like, okay, whatever's in front of me, I am now the owner of my life. Like, I've
yeah.
had enough of the bad, I've had enough of the negative. Now I am in control of it, and I'm going to only allow the positive. So I just started to see life differently, and that's how it would help with my dating life. Women saw me differently. I was very positive, and with that positivity, good things started happening. So that was my goal, to rebuild the life I always wanted, and I did.
Yeah. And the thing about this is when the energy you give out is what you receive. If you give out positive
Yes.
energy, you receive positive energy back. So yeah,
Yes.
good. So there's this stuff there's this thing about when I've not really experienced it though, but when guys break up with their girlfriends, their friends go start hitting on their girl, and
Yeah.
same with married people, like when they separate, their friends start hitting on the wife,
Yeah.
So did any of your friend at any point start hitting on your wife?
Yeah, all of them. Like all of them
Oh,
did. Yeah.
wow.
And that's one thing that shocked me. I made a video not too long ago, like the 10 lessons I learned after my divorce, and one of them is like, you'd be surprised how many of your friends, and I'm talking friends from high school, are lining up to date your wife, your ex-wife. And to be honest, like I said, it didn't bother me, because again, I was the one
Really?
who asked for the divorce, and she was the one. It's her life. I can't judge that. So yeah, I was
Mm,
really shocked. I had people, dude, from my graduating class of 1995 messaging me
wow.
saying, "Sir, yeah, hey Rudy, do you mind if I ask your ex-wife out? I've always had a crush on her." And I'm like, "Go ahead, man. Go ahead." There are people were asking for my permission. Like I
Hmm.
said, and it also taught me, that whole experience. It taught me that you'd be surprised who your friends are in this
Yeah.
world. You're lucky to have one. I thought I had 10. I thought I had my bros. I thought I had my pack, right? That wolf pack, right? No,
Yeah.
they all just abandoned me. We're all trying to hook up with my ex-wife, trying to arrange threesomes with their wife and my ex-wife. Those are my
Wow.
friends that I've known for over 15 years are trying to do that, dude. So it taught me a lot. And
Wow.
it's insane. So you really have to be careful with the word friend because
True.
I don't use it lightly anymore. I have maybe two, and that's including my fiance that I
Mm,
completely trust. But it was really shocking to me how much of that I saw.
wow, wow, wow. Sometimes, bad situations are good for us because it exposes the people that we think are friends around us. Wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow.
yeah. And it hurts. I'm not gonna lie. When it happens, you're shocked and you're kind of hurt, but at the same time, you can't help it. This is their
Exactly.
true colors, like you said. This is who they are and who they've always been. So it just kind of makes you realize, wow, you really have to be careful with who your inner circle is.
Damn. Okay, so let's get to the big question. Why do you
Yeah.
think marriages are failing?
Ooh, that's a good question, man. And to be honest, I think a lot of reasons, and I'm going to ramble here a little bit, but the first
Okay.
reason I think is, like I said, people get married too young and they don't know who they are.
Mm,
Marriage. I'm not anti-marriage, but I believe marriage is a beautiful thing when it's done right. And I think there's a lot of pressure right now, and I've seen it firsthand when I was single and I started dating people who were young. I saw a lot of people feeling this weird obligation and need to get married before a certain age. Like I say, somewhere between 24 and 28, there's this age period where I have to get married. If not, I'm gonna be a failure. People are
mm,
gonna look at me as a failure, and I have to get married. And I know for a fact there's a lot of people getting married just for the wrong reasons. Like I need to get married. I don't care with who. So they're just picking a person who kind of like agrees with them, like, hey, let's do this. You want to get married? Yeah, great. So they're getting married, but not having the full conversation. Then they end up getting
mm,
divorced. So I think right away there's a lot of people getting married for the wrong reasons. Because
yeah.
again, this is a social construct to hurry up and get married. If not, they're looked upon a certain way. The other thing I think is social media has ruined marriage in a sense because when people see marriage online, what do they see? They see a beautiful couple, they see the beautiful church, they see
Yeah.
like them going on vacations on the balcony, at the beach, and all that. And that's just bullshit, by the way, because that
Mm,
is maybe 0.5% of what married
exactly.
life is. That's the good
Yeah.
moments, but that's not the bad moments. They never focus on that. Marriage is hard. It's incredibly hard. And I also think there's people who don't know how to be selfless or sacrifice.
True,
And
true, true.
I remember growing up that I thought if I played by the rules and if I did everything right, life would go my way. And that's
Mm,
dumb. That's stupid. Life is going to punch you in the nose, whether you want it to or not. And how you react and how you handle the situation is going to determine if your marriage is going to work or not, especially the person you marry, because for example, I'm gonna give you some real world examples here. When I got married at 21, a lot of my friends did as well. So I knew at least 20 people who got married in their early age of 21, all healthy, right? One
mm,
couple I knew, his wife got into a car accident, and she couldn't walk well anymore. Her back was injured. Beautiful woman, but she was now in pain all the time. And he dumped her. He divorced her because
okay.
she wasn't the same. She didn't like to dance anymore. So he didn't love the new her. He was fed up with it, so he divorced her. I had with this one guy whose wife got cancer. Athletic people. I'm talking they looked beautiful together, but his wife got cancer very early. She started losing her hair, and he lost attraction for her, so he dumped her. And I've told the story many times when I had Sterling Cooper on. I had another friend who worked in the oil fields here in Texas, and in this type of work, you can make over six figures, but it's a hard job. It's really
Mm,
hard. But he had the most beautiful woman ever with him, and she was like a 10. We're all jealous of him because he had the hot wife, and he would always parade her on IG, and everyone was envious because she was so gorgeous. He ends up getting his back hurt, like on the job. He hurts his back, so he's a liability now, and they fired him. So guess what? He's not bringing in six figures anymore. So guess what she does? She leaves him. So I think that's the problem. A lot of people get married and don't think about these situations. Another couple of friends that I knew, They had a baby, but the baby died. It was a stillborn,
Wow.
and it destroyed their marriage. It's you see, it's those things you don't think about that happen in real life. And I think people, when it does happen, they don't know how to handle it, and they would rather leave in the marriage and focus and face that hard reality and starting a marriage over again with a child who's passed, or the wife who hurt herself, or the husband who has a bad back. It's all those real world situations I think that I know for a fact that a lot of young people don't think about. And that's part of marriage, man. You have to be selfless. You have to sacrifice. It's not going to be good all the time. It's not going to be what you see on social media, and that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, marriage is not it's not a bed of roses, you know. Marriage is all about sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice, you know, you will not get the best of marriage. You know, a lot of people are soft these days. You know, when you know they get hit by something that they can't handle, they just want to run away. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And let me
that's
ask you this: how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? How old?
I'm 25 years.
You're a young man. Perfect. All right. Let me ask you this: you think there's a lot of young men out there who can go a year without having sex with their wife?
No, I don't think so.
You see, that's another thing. A lot of guys don't understand that because I had a few friends of mine whose wife they had a kid, but then the wives get postpartum depression, or there's something physically that changes within, and they don't have a sex drive anymore. And sometimes you just have to wait it out or to help her get through therapy. But during that therapy, you're not having sex. At a young Rudy couldn't understand that. Now as I'm older, yes, I understand that. So that's what I mean by sacrifice. There may be some periods in your marriage sometimes that you're not going to have sex for months. Like for example, when I was married, and this is how stupid I was. And I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't told the story yet, but my ex-wife, her mother died of cancer like that. She never smoked, she never drank. Healthy woman, she got pancreatic cancer and died in 6 months. And my ex-wife was not the same for 12 months. She wasn't in the mood to have sex. This devastated her. And me, 3 months after the funeral, I'm thinking, what about me? What about me? I need to have sex. What do you need to focus on me? You need to give me attention. That's what I was thinking. And if I can go back in time, I'd kick my own ass because I lost my dad last summer, and I know how painful that is. And it's moments like that I'm trying to say that as a young man, you have to get married thinking, I may go a year. I mean, it probably won't happen, but you may go a year without having sex because of some medical issues or your in-law dying. Maybe their mother is battling cancer and she's invested and she's involved with her mom and trying to help her. So she's not thinking about sex. She's focused on her mom. So again, I don't mean to sound like a downer. I don't want to sound like a downer, but these things happen, and people don't think about it, but it does.
I'm coming just a second. I don't know the stream is kind of like you're I don't know how to explain it, but you are like behind like
There's a
the
lag.
visual. Sorry.
Is it lagging?
Yes, exactly. It's lagging.
Oh, okay.
Don't know what's happening.
Do you want me to exit out and come back in or something? Because I can hear a mumble now as I'm talking. I can hear like I guess that's my voice.
You're lagging. Like your voice is coming before it's displaying. Like I don't
You
know
want
why
me
it's
to
happening.
drop out and come back in?
Okay, yeah, maybe you should. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll be right.
Okay, guys. This is really an awesome, show. I'm really, really enjoying this, and I'm learning a lot. So let's just wait for Rudy to come back. Let's wait for Rudy to come back. Hmm. Guys, Rudy had a problem with it with his life. Okay, he's back. Okay.
I hope that's better.
Let me see. Okay, okay, okay. Okay,
It-
okay, good, good. It's better now.
Okay.
Ah, no, 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 it's not. It's still the same. Kind
Oh,
of.
what's going on here? Let me see. Echo. Let's see. Do you, like if you have me on speaker, maybe put me on wear some headphones on. I think that maybe that would help.
I didn't get that. Can you say something now? Let me see.
Yeah, testing, testing.
Still the same.
Oh man.
And it has been like this for a while. Like I just thought maybe it's going to,
You
become
wanna
normal.
you wanna restart the live or like it's your call. I can hear what you're talking about now. It's now like super loud. The feedback.
Really? Is it okay now?
Testing. Not sure. Testing. No, I can. It sounds like a muffled back, like some feedback or something like
How about now?
that. Testing, testing. No, let me see if there's something I can do on my end. One second. Let's see. One moment. Is this any better? No.
No.
Oh my god, dude,
I
I am
don't know. Maybe
sorry, man. I don't know what's going on. This has never happened before.
it's all right. Maybe
You
maybe after the live it will be normal. I don't know. I don't know.
you want to
I
restart
don't
the
know.
live? Just start a new live. Maybe that's what it is. 'Cause I at least want you to use the audio. I don't mind.
Nah, I don't think I'm going to restart this. Let's
Okay.
just go ahead. Let's just go ahead.
All right.
All right. So what are some of the common mistakes you see people make in marriages and relationships that lead to divorce?
Oh, that's a really good question, dude. Some of the main mistakes, like I said, is not being able to communicate and not wanting to communicate. I'm sorry, dude. It's getting louder on my end. Yeah, hold on. Oh
Okay.
my god. Testing, testing, testing. Oh my god.
Is it still loud?
Yeah, it's really loud on my headset now, or I can barely hear you. Let's see.
Okay, guys. Let's just hold on for Rudy. He has an issue with his mic, and I don't know why. So let's just hold on for him to come back. So guys, we'll be having these issues. So I just hope you understand. I just hope you bear with us. This is um this is our beginning stage, okay? So we might have issues with the mic, with the sound, with everything. So as time goes on, we'll improve. And that's why you guys should support me. If you want to support, you can do that through the PayPal. It's in the description below. So do well. Okay, let me just even add it here. Can I comment? No, I can't even comment.
Hopefully, there's no feedback. Loud now.
How is it now?
The same. It's like after I talk, I hear my voice muffled in my headset.
Okay, like a feedback.
Yeah, yeah, it's super loud over here.
Damn. What do you think will be wrong? Is it from my end? Let me see.
Maybe I don't know. Do you have me on a speaker or you have headphones on?
I don't have a headphone on. I'm doing it from my phone, so it's just playing
That
out loud. Like,
that's probably it. I mean that just from my experience, like if you have a headset, that does help because I think maybe I'm hearing myself through the phone.
okay, hold on. Let me.
No problem. We'll figure this out. We'll figure
Sure.
this out.
Is it better now?
Testing, testing. No, it's still out.
Damn, what's wrong? And we're having what the hell, bro? We're having this thing was going off smooth. What's happening now?
I don't know, but I think it's the audio. Like I said, I hear it on my headset, which means it's I'm hearing from your end, so it's coming from you. Live television, right? This is so much fun.
Okay, let's see. What about now?
Hello, testing, testing. Nope, still there.
Shit.
Testing,
What about now?
testing, 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 testing. No, it's good. I think we got it. Yeah, testing, testing. Yeah, we got it.
Okay. Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, we figured it out.
Let me just get back. I'm coming. Okay, so
No problem.
all
Yes.
right.
Woo!
Okay, 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 okay. So okay, so continue what you were saying. Yeah, the common mistakes come
Yeah,
people make.
like I said, I think it's not getting married for the right reasons, as I mentioned, is really the critical one. For example, there's a few people that I mentor, and one of these people went to a wedding, and she
Mm,
was a bridesmaid, and I asked her, "Hey, how did it go?" And she was, "Oh, it was fun. I had a good time." And I asked her, "Let's be honest. Do you think the wedding, the bride and groom are going to last?" And she goes,
mm,
"Honestly, no, because during the bachelorette party, the bride got drunk. She told everybody, 'I don't even love him. I just need to get married. I'm settling.'" And I'm like, I knew it. I just had a feeling,
yeah.
and I think I don't want to put a percentage. I know guys like percentages, but I think that's the key thing is that people are getting married for the wrong reasons or feeling pressure to do it. So they're making exceptions
Yeah,
to the
true.
rules and just picking somebody. And that's it's you're setting yourself up for failure. It may not fail the first year or two, but it's going to fail within the next seven. Again, I think they're
Mm,
doing it for the wrong reasons. And the other reason, like I said, is that what I mentioned is not being selfless or ready to make the sacrifice because life is going to hit you in many
true.
ways that you're not expecting. And I
Mm,
think that's a one thing, like I mentioned earlier, that a lot of young people don't think about. Like, if I play by the rules and make the right decisions, is everything's going to go the right way? No, it doesn't. There's things that you can't
mm,
control that are going to affect your life, and it's how you handle that event that's going to really make or break you. And I want to tie this to, there's another, I see a lot of coaches out there say you don't want a woman with trauma, and I disagree with that. And I don't mean baggage, I
Mm,
don't mean bodies, right? I mean trauma.
mm.
Trauma is a good thing because,
Okay.
let me explain why.
Okay.
Everybody should go out there and fail and rebuild themselves up and know how to
Mm.
handle life when it doesn't go your way. When you
True.
learn how to handle life when it's beating you to the ground, you can handle anything. And you want a
Mm.
partner who can be at that level with you. And for example, if you marry a young woman who doesn't know how to handle trauma, she's had no trauma whatsoever, and things go down, most people go fight or flight mode and quit. And like, no, I can't
Mm.
handle this. I can't. This is too much life. I can't handle this. I'm leaving. Versus a person who's had trauma says, "Babe, okay, we're a team. Things aren't going well. I know you got laid off. That's one example. We're going to be hurting for a little bit, but I'm with you." You want somebody who can handle trauma, and when things go bad, to because there's going to be lows in your marriage, and then you're going to get back up there again. So trauma is a good thing for those who have conquered it. Now, people who have those trauma, damaged, and they're still kind of lingering with the pain and
Yeah.
heartache they've had in the past. That's an entirely different story. You want a
Yeah.
person who's conquered that and who's mature enough to handle life with you. And I think, again, that's another reason I think that a lot of couples are people are filing for divorce. Is like when things go bad that first 4 or 5 years, like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. They quit.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so, what can men do to avoid getting divorced? Because I think divorce can be avoided. Sorry.
It can be. Oh my God,
Mm.
that's such a good question. Don't get married. I'm just kidding. No, get married, but for the right reasons, like I said, and be very selective with who your spouse, the woman you choose, is. Do not
Mm.
choose a woman for beauty. Beauty will not raise your kids or get you
True.
through a bad moment. Don't
Mm.
marry a woman who only loves you for the life you can give her. And what I mean
Mm.
by that is, if you're a six-figure guy and you're doing well for yourself, badass, man, I'm proud of you. But if you marry a woman who specifically only wants you for that life, things can go bad. I know there's a few mentors here in San Antonio that I look up to that lost all their businesses during the COVID,
Yeah.
back in 2020, and a lot of women left them because these are
Wow.
six-figure guys no longer making that money. So marry somebody who don't marry somebody
Yeah. Yeah. I
who
get.
is marrying you for the life you can give them. Marry somebody who loves you for the man you are. And
Mm.
that may not be a baddie. I'm not saying marry ugly women, but I'm saying be very cautious and selective with who you marry. So that's definitely one, picking the right person. And two, taking your time before giving her the ring. I think a lot of people get, I know him or her, but you've only been dating 6 months.
Mm.
To truly know a person, I say it takes a few years, like 3, 4 years tops. You want to see the person you were considering to get married to. You want to see
True.
them at their lowest. When things don't go their way, are they going to be pouting and blaming you and just going all crazy, or are they going to be working with you to get to where you need to be? So you want to see
Mm.
them at their lowest and see how they handle life. That's another thing. And two, like I said, as a husband, you have to be the rock. You have to be the man
Mm.
of the house, but also be sure you have a conversation with your spouse as far as roles. Like, what exactly do you want for her? What exactly are you going to handle? That way, there's no heated arguments when you get home that you didn't do this or that. Have those discussions on who's in charge of what.
Mm.
And again, have those tough conversations as well with your spouse. Um, if you want to have kids, talk about disciplining the kids, talk about education. If you sex is a big deal when you're young, I get that. Talk about sex, the importance of it, what it means to you, what you want to do if you want to explore other things. I've had men message me who said they've always wanted to have threesomes, but their wife never wanted to. So now what do I do? I've had women message me saying I'm bisexual. I love women, but my husband's a conservative Christian, and if I bring
Mm.
it up, he's going to divorce me or get mad at me. And I should have mentioned this when we first started dating, and I didn't, and I should have. So you have a lot of people who are married who are
Mm.
hiding from who they really are and living a
True.
lie. And so you have to be honest with your sexual needs with the person. Talk about those tough conversations. and get to know what they're looking for. That way, when you marry, you know who they are. You'd be surprised how many people don't truly know the man or woman they're going to marry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And it is uncomfortable as conversations can be. Don't worry about, is he going to get mad or she going to get mad if I bring it up? No, have the conversation up front. And if you break up, guess what? You just saved yourself 7 years of hell. She wasn't the one,
Exactly.
dude. So,
Yeah.
so to have those conversations, and the right woman, it was going to be, okay, let's talk about this, babe. She's going to be open because she wants to learn your needs. And the other thing, the last thing, I have plenty of reasons because I'm divorced, right? You have to evolve. There's a lot of men and women out there who say I do and think that's it. I got her locked in. I got him locked in. I don't have to do anything no more. She's stuck with me. No, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, but you should commit to each other. I'm going to evolve with you. The man you see here, I'm going to be better for you, for my
Exactly.
kids, for myself. I'm going to be a better man for you, and I'm going to change, and I want you to change with me. We're both going to evolve and build a fucking
Together.
empire. Make that promise to each other. We're going to be physically healthy. We're going to take care of each other. We're going to support each other. Whatever aspirations I have, you're going to back me up. I'm going to back you up. We're committed to each other. Say that in your wedding and make that commitment to each other, not just for better, for worse. And I think if you have that understanding, you're built for success.
Yeah, wow, that's really amazing. So, what advice do you have for individuals that are going through or that have recently gone through divorce, and how can they navigate the challenges and build a new life for themselves?
Take it day by day. And it's the pain and heartbreak you feel, that's normal. That it's okay to mourn. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to be in that kind of self-pity space, but don't linger in there. Don't stay in it for long. Shake off that energy and just take it day by day and commit one action a day that's going to get you to the life you want. Like if you want a better life, commit to something daily, whether that's going to the storage room and moving some stuff out of storage, going to the gym, working out. You have to keep moving. Life is not going to wait for you. And heal from that. There were days where I was just like in my house, just covered in depression. I could just feel the depression, that energy in the house. I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here. So I would get out of the house and I would go for a walk. And you'd be surprised what just walking in the sun with the wind in your face does to you. You feel better 20 minutes later. And they're like, oh, wow, I needed this. Or going to the gym, just getting out and knowing that life in the world's still moving and you just got to move along with it. But it's going to take time. Financially, I was in a bad place after my divorce. I worked 3 jobs. I was working 3 jobs. Like I wanted to date and go out with women. So I was an Uber driver and that would be my date money. You're going to be hurting financially for a while and that's normal and fine, but you can get through it. So again, just understand that life you just lost, that took years to accumulate and acquire. And it's going to take years to get it back. It took me 6 years to get a house again. I bought this house with my own name. Everything in this house is under my name and my name alone, but it took 6 years of busting my ass to get there.
Wow.
So understand that the pain you feel is justified, but don't let it conquer you. You have to get up and move forward. You have to get up. And again, see it as this moment in life. Every movie, you like movies? I love movies, right? Obviously, I got plenty of movies, but do you love movies? Do you like movies?
Oh yeah, I do. I love movies.
Okay, perfect. In every movie, there's that part in the movie where the hero's about to give up and lose everything, but he doesn't. He gets back up and he keeps going. So that's you in the movie. Think about it. This is your own movie. You're gonna let life conquer you, or no? You're gonna keep moving forward.
Exactly.
That's the best advice I can give you. And again, don't use hate to get you through it, because hate will destroy you from the inside out, like it did me. Hate is not going to work.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Incentivized to divorce their husbands in today's day and age.
What was that? I think you froze on me. What was that?
Okay, I said, do you think women are incentivized to divorce their husband in today's day and age?
Incentivized, like with alimony and such? Yeah. I think I'm in Texas, so there's no alimony in Texas. So yay, go Texas, right? But
Yeah.
I think there is maybe an incentive as far as child support, but child support, having kids myself, 600 a month is really not a lot for kids, especially as they get older and they start eating more. So there's really no incentive. When I hear guys say I pay 800 in child support, I'm thinking that's what I pay a month already. So that's not
Mm,
incentive for them. Every single mother I've ever met, and keep in mind when I started dating, I had 2 kids and I co-parented with my ex-wife, right? So I preferred, believe it or not, I preferred to date single mothers, but I wanted
mm,
them to be in the same position I was. I wanted their kids to be the same ages as mine, and I wanted them to have a healthy co-parenting relationship with their father. Like me and the
okay.
ex-wife would get along great. So as long as your shit's together like mine, let's do it. But I prefer dating single mothers because of schedules. And
Okay.
Monday through Friday, there's no dating because you're with the kids. Weekends is when you have time for the kids. Now, to your question, all these single mothers had to get a job. When they got divorced, no one was living the good life. Well, oh, he's paying for this house, he's paying for my car, these nails. No, he's paying for the kids, and she had to get a job.
Mm,
Now there are situations like these one percenters who marry like the Hooters waitress or something like that. Yeah, he's gonna have to pay alimony for that situation because the income is just so off. But for most
mm,
middle class people like I am, uh, she had to get a job. So every single mother that I knew was getting child support for the kids, but no one was getting alimony. They had to get a job
okay.
and rebuild their lives. So I'm sure in some situations we've seen those high profile divorce cases and those viral videos. Yeah, I'm sure there's a percentage of women out there that are getting incentivized, but for most middle class guys like myself, and I know plenty of them and hundreds of them have emailed me. That's a situation. They're none of all the ex-wives are all working.
Okay. A lot of people have, have, I don't know, like demonized single mothers. Like,
Mhm.
how is dating single mothers?
Um, Say it. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Like, a lot of people think single mothers are bad for relationship and stuff. Like, so what's your opinion on dating single mothers? Because you say you're into dating single mothers.
Yeah, if you're a young man like yourself and you don't have kids, then don't date a single mother. That's my opinion.
Okay.
They
Okay.
have a lot going on in their life, and they have to get their shit together and find their
Yeah.
footing. And no young man should go and be a savior for that
True.
life. I've known a few men personally that try to do that, and then 10 years later, that girl leaves them, and he's now
Mm,
attached and in love with this kid that he's got no cling to. So
yeah.
it's a bad situation. So I always tell young men, not. I don't want to like label them as sluts or hoes or anything like that. No, that something
Yeah.
happened in their life that didn't work out with their husband. So, but you're not their savior. So focus on yourself. The only way that I would approve of dating the single mothers, like I just mentioned earlier, their kids are the same ages as yours, and they have a
Mm,
great co-parenting relationship in their house together. Like every single mother I dated, they had a career, they had a home that it took 10 years to get, right? But they had a home, they had all their shit together, just like I did. I was never going to be anybody's savior. And when I was dating, if somebody's had 3 kids and 3 different dads, I'm like, okay, I don't want anything to do with that. That's your situation. I'm not here to judge, but I'm
yeah.
going over here. So that's my advice to young men is don't date one if you don't have any kids. But if you're older like me, and then it's allowed within those certain parameters that I mentioned.
Okay. So, what's your opinion on getting married with the government involved?
I need to do more research on that. I've seen like I said, I had Sterling Cooper on and a few others. I think the getting the government it can be a bad thing, of course, getting it involved in
Mm,
your marriage. I've interviewed a bunch of divorce attorneys on my podcast, and they've all said that yeah, it's lucrative and it's in their best interest to kind of keep the arbitration going and the
mm,
divorce proceedings going because it's more money for them. So
yeah.
I am totally open to other avenues and not getting them involved. As a matter of fact, I'm engaged again, right? But I have
Yeah.
a prenup ready to go. Like my house is my
Wow.
house, so I'm
Mm,
learning from my mistakes, and we're exploring other avenues instead of going the government route. But yeah, that can really complicate situations for a man, especially if it doesn't work out. He's liable to lose, the home and
all of the
etc.
shit.
And pay
Yeah.
unimaginable court fees for the divorce.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So can you share some practical tips and strategies for maintaining a healthy relationship or marriage?
What are the tips for a healthy marriage?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's the core of it is really finding somebody who you can talk to openly about anything. That's key. But
Mm,
also, I urge everybody, and if I can tell my younger self this, is that when your or girlfriend is upset with you, listen to them.
mm,
Don't wait to respond. Don't wait to say, what about me? No, no, just listen to her
mm,
and get to the core of what's bothering her. Because with most women, if they're upset about something, it's not about what just happened. It's usually tethered to something that's been going on, financial problems, stress, other things that are just been on her mind. So I would urge all young men to just listen and just hear them out. And sometimes responding is a good thing. Like, okay, I heard what you said. I appreciate that. Let me think about it.
mm.
Let me think about what you
Okay.
said because I just want to make sure I understand the situation. So again, communication is key, but also you have to be attentive to their needs. And again, this goes both ways, right? I don't want to say this is all on us. It goes both ways. You have to remember that life can be hard and stressful, but you have to make time within the day to show appreciation. Hey, babe, I
True.
love you. Massage her
Mm,
feet, vice versa. Have her rub your back. You have to make time to know physically, and they touch each other. Like, hey, I love you, either verbally, vocally, whatever. Just show appreciation to one another, and
mm.
be. And sometimes it goes both ways, where like life is hitting you hard, and she needs to support you, or vice versa. Just understand that they have your back. But communication is key, and also like making time to go on dates. You don't have to go on any lucrative dates. You don't have to go on
Very
things that are
important.
like out of town. But don't forget yourselves, and that's what happens to a lot of people who have kids. They forget to be husband and wife, like I did, and just
Mm,
become mom and dad. And then before you know
true.
it, you don't go on dates. So I
Mm,
urge people, like, if you do have a family, it's your spouse and then your kids. Your spouse comes first, not your kids. A lot of people get
mm,
triggered when I say that, but it's the truth. Make time to be alone with your wife or husband, and let them know that it's still us. It's still us. We have kids, yes, but I still love you, and we're going to go to a concert, things like that. We're going to do things on our own. So it's really just understanding, if I can just kind of be like a little romantic here, but there's so many distractions in life, bills,
true.
a lot of things that you're obligated to, jobs and family matters, but it's those small moments that matter in life.
Yeah.
When
Mm,
you're fighting with her, she's upset. We all have something that we can say to really hurt her, but I urge everybody to, like, sometimes it's not worth it. It's not worth the fight. Just kind of hold back and just apologize and say, "Babe, I'm sorry. Let's get through this." Just be there for each other when the going gets
mm.
bad. And if I can say this, one more, I got tons of advice, man, because again, I've been
Yeah,
there.
it's nice.
Treat your home, treat your home, apartment, whatever. Treat it like a sanctuary. Treat it like church.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is, don't fight in that room. Don't fight in that house all the time. Treat it like like a respectable place. Like, no, we're not going to do this here. Let's go for a walk. Let's talk about this outside, or let's talk about
outside.
this another time. Because before you know it, you keep fighting in that house, you're going to hate to go home, because that energy is
Mm,
always going to be like, that room reminds me of what she said that one time, or we got into that fight over here, or I punched the wall. Now there's a big crack in the drywall. Your home is going to become a place you don't want to be in. So yeah,
mm,
treat it like a sanctuary. Treat it, babe. Respect her, respect your home, and go with that approach. And I promise you, your home's going to be a place you want to come home to. There's a lot of men out there who don't want to go home, and that's
yeah.
unfortunate.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm really learning a lot. So, in your opinion, what are the essential qualities that or traits one should look out for in a partner before going into marriage?
Say it again. I'm sorry, the connection broke up.
Okay, I said, what are the essential qualities or traits one should look out for before going into a marriage or relationship?
Like I said, my fiance right now, she's the best woman I've ever met in my life. I always brag about her, but
Wow.
um, Well, again, we're not talking about ourselves. We're talking about the person, right? You want
Yeah.
to, like I said, you want to see them at their worst. How do they handle life when things aren't going their way? You want to see
Mm,
them when things are going well. You want to see if they're selfless, if they ever are they getting you gifts, are they remembering the special days that mean to you? In other words, it can't be one-sided. You want to see that she's listening to your needs and remembers days and events and movies that are special to you. She's interested
mm,
in what you love. I can't understand like like for example, let's say you love horror movies, right? I don't understand
okay.
how guys marry a woman who doesn't like horror movies, or if you like, heavy metal and she doesn't like heavy metal. That doesn't make sense to me. Like find somebody who's like interested in what you love. And if not, maybe they want to show an interest because like I said, going to metal concerts with my fiance or watching cheesy 80s horror movies with her, that's what we love to do. And it brings a lot of joy and just like I can't wait to spend time with her. So you
Mm,
just be sure like you have the same interest together. And and make sure they're ambitious. Like whatever your plans are, make sure they align with yours. And that's another thing as well. If you want to have children, great. Talk about children. Talk about, okay, how do you want to discipline them? What religion are they going to be raised under? People don't have that
mm,
conversation. Like who's going to be like things like that. Like, do you want to be a stay-at-home mother? Like, have all those conversations so you both have a clear understanding on who's responsible for what and what the long-term plans are. That's key. But like I said, when it comes to women, avoid the red flags. If you're simply marrying her because she's got a booty and she's hot and she's a dime, you're fucked. Like you're setting yourself up for failure. Do not marry based on looks. Beauty is definitely something that's confused a lot of us, right? But again,
yeah,
you want to
true.
look at their inner being, like because looks fade, man. Looks
Yeah,
fade,
looks
and again,
fade,
it's the
looks fade.
person inside that matters. So be sure to not get distracted with physical attributes. And I know it's tough, but it's the person inside that
Yeah,
matters.
very
That's
tough.
core. That's core.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we know the things to look out for in a partner, so what are the red flags that we should also look out for, before considering marriage?
Oh my God, that's a good one. Oh, let's see. Red flags. If she does blow up or like when things don't go her way, like if she gets a flat tire, for example, and she's just panicking and just making a spectacle out of herself, or she doesn't get her way, she gets really upset. That's definitely a
Mm,
red flag. If she's blocking you
definitely.
because you're arguing and she blocks you on her phone, that's definitely a red flag. If she can,
Mm,
if she can handle like a discussion without getting defensive, that's a red
mm.
flag.
Wow,
If
wow,
she's
wow.
very superficial, like she likes purses and Louis Vuittons and she's all about that life,
Yeah.
definite red flag.
Yeah.
There's so many things. Of course, her past, like how's her relationship with her family? How does she speak of her exes? Is she a mother? Is she a good mother? Things of that nature. There's so many things to look at, but again, like how are they with money? There's a lot of women who are bad with money. Like they
True.
have the Louis Vuittons, they have all that, but it's all on a credit card, right? So like how are they with money if
Mm.
they're in debt? Red flag. If they're
Yeah, very
always
important.
yeah, especially that. And if they're always wanting you to pay on every date, that's another red flag as well.
Mm.
That's what I can think of that's upfront. But again, you want a woman who's selfless just like you and who loves you for the man you are, not for what you can buy her or where you can take her. If you feel like you have to splurge money on this woman to keep her attention, that's not a good place to be in, man.
What about body count?
Body counts. Well, as an older man, I didn't care because, like I said, I was dating at 39, right? So who am I to judge? Everybody's had their first love. Everybody's had a marriage and is divorced, and it really didn't matter to me. But when I was married at 21, guess what my body count was at 21 when I got married? Take a wild guess.
I think zero.
Two,
Oh,
and
two. Wow.
it was including my fiance, my first
Wow.
wife. Her body count was one, and we still got
Wow.
divorced. Everybody I knew, as I mentioned earlier, everybody that got married at their 20s, I knew at least 20 couples, including myself. 90% of us are divorced. And I hear the arguments, and I understand from the young mindset because I was there once. Like, hey, you want somebody with low body count because she's not alpha widowed, and that you want her to be like one of the low body count because your marriage is gonna last longer. That's bullshit. Because you know what happens? I'm guilty of this as well. You have a low body count of 2, right? At 21. Now you're 33 and you've only been with one woman. And you start thinking, did I miss out? Did I not have my fun? Because I've never kissed another woman. No other woman has given me a BJ. I've never seen another woman naked. I've never held another woman. So guys start thinking this way and we start going astray. Women have told me, I've never had another man. I've only had one D my entire life. And my husband's bad in bed. And I don't know what another man feels like. So we start thinking these thoughts and they go off temptation, and some people cheat. Most people cheat. So having a low body count when you're married and young doesn't mean you're setting yourself up for success. In my opinion, in my life and what I've seen, that's not the case. I always tell people, and I know this may be not aligned with a lot of young people, but you want somebody who's had their fun. Now, does that mean 30, 50? No. Like the norm for what I hear is 8 or less than 10 for most women that are quality women. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I think everybody should know where they are sexually before they get married. Because like, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of people who are hiding a piece of them. I'm bisexual and I never said anything. I'm really gay and I'm pretending to be straight. There's a lot of people who are untruthful for who they are and what they want, and they get married. And then they get divorced 10 years later. And it's not the guy's fault. She just lied to herself. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, be honest with what you are, what you want, and explore that sexual realm that everybody deserves. Now, again, I'm not saying have 50, 80 bodies by the time you're 23. Have some standards, protect yourself, and just like at least explore that option. And I know that may not align with a lot of young guys, but that's just me speaking from an older perspective.
Doesn't align with me too, bro.
I understand that. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think if I want to get into a relationship, because me myself, I have a low body count, so my wife should not have more than 3 body counts for real.
Okay. Why is that? Like, what if is it that she has more than you, or you just don't think 3 or more is because again, I know you're young, so I have to put my mindset at 25. Like, if I have 5 and she has 10, what the hell, But if she has at least 5 like me or less, I think I could live with that.
Yeah. So I think that is just it. So I don't want someone with more experience than me. So yeah.
Perfect. And I knew that's what it was. And I remember that's nothing new. That's what every guy has always felt, even in the 90s. We didn't call it body count. We called it her reputation. Because back then there was no social media, right? So if people knew of her, oh, you're dating Sarah? Oh, so-and-so dated Sarah. And then you meet this other guy. So it was like word of mouth or reputation. That's how we determined if she was a slut or she had a high body count, because we knew all these guys she dated. So that's nothing new. And I understand that, again, speaking as an older man, I didn't care when I got older, but as a young man, I get that sense of like, what if she had a better lover than me? Or what if the dudes gave her the experience that I couldn't give her? You don't think about that when you're older, but as a young man, I do recall that.
Okay, so okay, so you mentioned when it comes to conversations that should be had before you go into marriage, you mentioned how you guys are going to take care of the kids.
The audio's out. The audio's out. I can't hear you. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Testing. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So, what are the conversations men and women need to have before going into marriage?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, like I said, you want to talk about the roles. Now, roles vary per person, right? So you
Yeah.
want to talk about who's responsible for what, and see if your idea aligns with hers. The last thing,
Mm.
and again, people don't have that conversation. Then they get married and they start arguing. Well, I don't like doing this. I thought you did, vice versa. So talk about what you want to be in charge of, and what you're best at. Because some guys, there's a lot of guys, believe it or not, that I've spoken to who are good at mopping floors. Like, okay, well, mop the floor. Just tell her that you got in charge of that. So talk about roles and what you want each other, what you're expecting from each other. So that way there's no surprises, right? To talk about, plans and money. Look, okay, I make this much. I want you to be a stay-at-home wife, whatever the case is, or if you're working, what are your plans? What are you gonna do when we have kids? Because when
Mm.
kids come into the equation, are you gonna keep your job, or are you gonna quit? You gonna go back to work when the kid comes, when the kid's like 4 months, like things like that you don't think of. You want to talk about that, the life you want,
Mm.
because I know there's a lot of people who want a man who has six figures or more, and they want to be the stay-at-home wife or whatever the case is. Jobs like that usually require a lot of your time, like
True.
60 hours or more a week. And as a young man like yourself, 25, I can understand me going back myself, like, hey, 60 hours is nothing. I'm providing for my wife and all that. That's no problem. But what a lot of people don't think about is that when you do have a kid, now you're missing out on weekends. You're missing out on her games. You're missing out on her
Mm.
birthdays, special events. Like she had a battle, like a
True.
pageant, and you can't go because you're working. And
Mm.
I still know a lot of guys who was like, I'm fine with that. I'm providing for my baby. But when you get my age and you see, not my daughter right now in real life is 19, and it kills me from an older man's
Mm.
perspective that I missed out on a lot of her youth because I
Yeah.
was working overtime trying to provide her the life that I thought was great. So you have to think about that. And I know money, and most, depending on the city you live in, you need to make a lot of money, but
Mm.
money doesn't bring happiness, in the sense that it usually brings a lot of hours and responsibilities to that job. But don't miss out
True.
on your kids, man. Don't miss out on those moments, because they're little for that much
Mm.
time, and then they grow up and they're gone. And you think, wow, 20 years went by
Wow.
like 5 years. So again, think about that. You got to have a balance of life, and sometimes that means taking a job that doesn't pay six figures. Now you got to adjust. So you have to think about the long term things and long term plans when it comes to that. And like I said, political ideals. If you're different, can you handle that, or is it going to be divisive? Many things like that. Have a discussion. Like, what if my mom gets sick? This happens a lot, believe
Mm.
it or not, especially in the Latino community. If my mom gets sick, she doesn't have insurance. She's going to have to move in. I'm going to have to care for her. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you? I don't know. So there's a lot of things like that happen, and you have to prepare for that, because, like I said, when you marry somebody, you're not only marrying them, but you're marrying their family, their siblings,
True.
their everything that comes with them. So they expect you to be a good son-in-law, and be there for them when they need you, and vice versa. So you have to have those conversations on what ifs. But mainly, like I
Mm.
said, the expectations is what people are not talking about. And as I mentioned earlier, the sex, like, babe, I need sex 3 times a week. From 1 to 10, sex is a 9. What is from 1 to 10? How important is sex to you? I think people need to have those conversations. That way they don't get like in the marriage where, like, she doesn't like sex as much as you do.
Mm.
Now you're an angry young man and bitter because, hey, you're supposed to this and this and that and that. So those discussions are very important.
Very, very. Wow. Okay. So for those that are divorced, how is dating after divorce?
Well, for me, I've told the story plenty of times, but it was shocking because I hadn't dated since the
Mm.
90s, and the 90s was an entirely different era. I'm talking the little black
Exactly.
book, getting numbers. You needed in the 90s, you needed game. You needed to smell good, look good, know how to talk to people, approach a woman, buy her a drink, get her to dance, get her number, then take her out the next week, and then maybe you hook up. But there was a lot of interaction up front, and
Mm.
it wasn't easy. You had to be confident in yourself before getting a girl's number. So that was my world. And then I
Mm.
started dating in 2016, and I was shocked that I can meet a woman with this. I can meet a woman with a phone. And I'm like, really? So it was so for me,
Wow.
it was easy. And I remember getting dates all the time. I would have dates Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with a different woman. And the biggest culture shock for me as an older guy was, one, I was surprised how many younger women were attracted to me. I thought I was too old for them,
Mm.
but I dated women as young as 23, 23 to 34, 23 to
Young
30.
women love young women love older guys.
Yeah, I was really shocked with it. I didn't know that. And two, I was really shocked with how sexually aggressive women were. Like,
Mm.
I was getting laid on the first night. I'm like, I don't even know you. And you want to give me roadhead? Really? Like, okay, sure, why not? I'm not gonna complain against that. But I was really
Exactly.
shocked. I was like, sure, why not? And again, I had never had it because the ex-wife didn't do that when I was married. So yeah, let's do it. Why not? So I was
Wow.
really shocked at how aggressive women were sexually. Like they were in control of it. And I was like, sure, let's go in backseat. Why not? Let's do it. And that was the two things that shocked me. But for me, dating, I always say this joke. I felt like Captain America, who was frozen in ice for 70 years and then this thawed out and it's a different world. I felt that way. And I remember I'd be at bars and I would go up to women and start talking to them. And a lot of women would be like, wow, you're talking to us? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what's wrong? Guys don't approach women anymore. Guys
Mm.
don't. They'll message us through Snapchat. I'm like, what the hell, Snapchat? I don't know what that is. So it was a lot of like old school behaviors that really women loved. I was assertive, I was aggressive, but not overly confident, but I was assured of
Mm.
myself. Like
Yeah.
I would meet somebody on a dating app and I asked her, hey, what are your plans this Saturday? And she goes, oh, nothing. I'm like, well, guess what? You're meeting me here at 8 o'clock. I'm going to take you here. We're going to have a good time. She goes, oh my God, you're so assertive. I love that. So the
Yeah.
common thing that women kept telling me was that I was assertive. I knew what I wanted and I didn't lie to them. And,
Mm.
and so they respected that. They asked me, do you want to get married? I'm like, no, I just got divorced. I was married 16 years.
Mm.
I want to have fun. I'm going to be that fun guy. So if you're looking for something serious, that is not me. I want you to know that up front. But if you want to have fun and show a divorced guy where all the cool bars are at and the world that he's missed, I'm all for that. And a lot of women, there are some women who got upset about that. Like, no, I'm looking to get married, but they respected me for not lying to them or leading them
Yeah.
on. So knowing what I wanted, being assertive, and just having a positive outlook on life, believe it or not, I always had dates. I always do, and with beautiful women. And it was just being myself. And I'm not, dude, I'm 5'8". I have a dad bod.
Mm.
So I don't,
Okay.
and I was working 3 jobs. So I was always busy with things. So yes, if you're 6 foot and you have abs and all that money, you're definitely in the right place and that you're setting yourself up for success. But you don't need that to be successful with women. A lot of them also told me that I made them feel safe. And I had never heard that term, like safe from danger. Like, no, like they would tell me, oh, apparently that's the best compliment a woman can give you. I didn't know that until I had some, sex coaches on the show. But they
Mm.
said, yeah, when a woman tells you you make her feel safe, that's a wonderful feeling for a woman because most guys don't. They're usually scared of the guy. He's angry about his ex or he's angry
Mm.
about his life. Or guys are stronger than women, so guys can overpower women. So they're telling me all these things. But yeah, I just no expectations on the date. I didn't pressure them to want to hook up with me or anything like that. I just treated the evening like, let's see where the evening goes. I didn't think
Mm.
about hooking up. I just said if it happens, great. If it doesn't, so what? But there was no pressure in the evening. I let them kind of dictate the pace of it. But I had a wonderful time. Like I said, but
Wow.
I knew I had to take care of myself. So I had a dad bod, but I didn't get fat. I made sure I smelled good. I dressed nice. But it was really those 3 things, man. Like I said, being upfront with what I want, being honest, and also having that positive attitude really helped me have a successful dating life, man, for a number of years, long time.
Wow. So what are the things men should expect when like men that are divorced? What are the things they should expect when going into the dating world again?
Well, expect a few things. Well, it's very electronic. No one likes to have a conversation anymore. Like back in my day, we used to call people and talk. It's texting now, so no one likes to talk. So be prepared for a lot of texting.
A
And
lot of texting, yeah.
I hate texting, man, because I hated texting being my first impression with them. I was never savvy with texting. I don't know any texting skills, but no one likes to have a conversation. First off, two. The second thing is be prepared for disappointment. What I
Mm.
noticed in the dating world, because again, I had no friends, right? So I started making more friends, more women and guys. I had to make single friends. I noticed majority of the people out there dating are dating for the wrong reasons. A lot of people are dating because they're terrified of being alone and they're
Yeah.
damaged. They haven't gotten over their ex and they're just dating to keep their minds preoccupied with somebody
Mm.
else, using this other person as a distraction versus focusing on what they've been through. So
Yeah.
get used to disappointment and just being very selective with who you date. Three, man, let's see. Like I said, women were very sexually aggressive. I wasn't expecting that.
Mm.
And don't listen to social media. Now, I know social media highlights a lot of OnlyFans models, IG models, and all these other women. I never encountered, I think I dated one at one point, an IG model, and it was the worst experience I've ever had. But which
Damn.
don't let social media frame your mind that that's all that is out there. No, that's a portion of it.
Mm.
That's a
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
like maybe 25% of the women out there, but not all of them. There's
Not
there's
all of
there's
them. Yeah, that's
regular
right.
women out there. Like most of the women I dated hated social media. They didn't have accounts, and
Mm.
they hated that whole life. So again, don't let social media paint this image of what the single life is out there. Yes, it's out there. Like if you go to these high market places like Miami, yeah, you're probably going to meet those women, but just stay away from them if you don't want to get involved and get like in a heartbreak. But learn for yourself. Like there's plenty of other
Mm.
people out there. A lot of girls love anime. I was really surprised how many people loved anime. I had to get into anime. Like, okay, what are we watching now? Okay, let's just watch this. But
I
there's
don't
just
even like anime.
neither did I. I hated that. Like watching Harry Potter. Like, okay, we'll watch Harry Potter. Like, let's watch it. There's just a lot of people who love what they love. And so just
Mm.
be prepared to learn new things and learn about new music and new movies and books that you never heard about. But the dating world is what you make it. And if you are bitter and angry about your divorce, that emotion, like you said earlier, with the energy you put out there is what you get back.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. So if you have any animosity with your divorce, any anger about your ex-wife, or have a hatred toward women, that's not going to work, man. You need to heal and resolve that before you go out there. But the dating world can be a lot of things. But again, like I said, be prepared for like disappointments and just being very cautious with who you allow in your life.
Yeah. 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 So, what do you think about dating in the West? Like, is there any hope for us? Because people are saying Western women are
Mhm.
you know a lot of things. So, what do you think about dating in the West?
Uh, well, again, I'm in the West, and I see the women that those shows highlight. And yes, there are women out there like that, but
Mm.
the U.S. is multicultural. Like I said, I'm in San Antonio. It's mainly Hispanic. There are some white people, there are some black people, and up north, there's German people. So
Mm.
there's a lot of different nationalities here, and a lot of them come from customary family traditions. Like Latino women are my favorite. I love Latino women. That's who I'm engaged to. They know how to take care of a man. But yeah, as far as the Western women,
I think I like Latino women too.
oh, they're the best, man. They're naturally beautiful, curvy, and just very
Yeah.
attentive to a man. Oh my god, I love San Antonio.
Very traditional too.
Yeah. So very traditional. They can cook for you. My fiance can cook for me. All that. They know how to take care
Damn.
of you, and they know how to be feminine. But you have
Mm.
to be masculine. Most guys. That's another thing that I heard in the dating world. There's a lot of men who aren't masculine. So that's not answering your question. But back to your question. Um, yes, there are some women out there that are horrible that these shows highlight, and I agree with that. But in the West, like I said, there's so many cultures here in the U.S. And if you're going to bars, if you're specifically trying to find a baddie, um, then maybe that's a little on you.
Mm.
Again, if you're a 1% man with a lot of wealth and power, like these guys who host these shows are, yeah, I can understand from their point of view. If I had that wealth and that power and that clout, I'd have to be very selective, and I would be very apprehensive to letting a woman in my life who can take half of all that, right? But most
Yeah.
guys aren't. We're all middle class guys. We're just starting out in life. So I agree with it to a small extent, but I just know too many people who aren't part of that scene who are good people and who
Mm.
are looking for a good man or a good woman. So I don't agree with it at all. And I understand there's a passport bro movement. I've interviewed a passport bro. And if you feel that's the best option for you, go right ahead. Go. What everybody should be happy, right? Whatever makes
Yeah.
you happy, go do it. I'm all for that. But if you've had unsuccessful I guess if you've had no success with women here in the West, I always ask people, is it because you're picking the wrong women, or is the women you're selecting, or are you basing that off of two women? Like, what experience are you going off of to more or less label an entire nation as bad women? So
Yeah.
I like I said, I'm older. I hate putting either people of a race or a gender or anything. I hate painting people in one broad stroke,
Yeah.
because that's not right. That's more
That's
like
not right.
that's like a
True.
stereotype.
True.
But that's just me.
So you mentioned that men are not, are no longer masculine. So how can men, get their masculinity back?
Oof, that's another good question. And again, I heard that from women, and I wasn't. This is years ago, right? And I'm like,
Mm,
really? I'm like, because I guess that's what they gravitated toward me, because I'm a Gen Xer. We come from the I don't give a shit what you think about me generation. So like we're gonna do our own thing, but we're also, I don't want to say gentlemen, but
mm,
we open doors for women. We open doors for the elderly. That's embedded in us. We call older people sir, ma'am, and we
yeah.
open doors for women when we go on dates. That's just what we're taught growing up. Nowadays, a lot of guys say that's simp behavior. I don't agree with that whatsoever, but
No, I don't agree with that either.
yeah, so that's just what's us. And I really feel bad for young men, because like I said, that's why I coach as much as I can, because it's confusing. And I blame
Mm,
social media as well. When you watch stories where they say guys can't approach women anymore because women say I'll get harassed. First, I've heard of that story. I don't know of anybody who's actually gone through it. But I know of that story. I've heard of the story. I can't open doors for women anymore because they'll say they'll get offended. I've never heard
yeah,
of
I've
that.
heard about it too, but I've
And
not seen it.
yeah, I've not seen it either. But even, you know what? Even if it did happen to me, I'm not going to let one experience from one woman change me. I'm still going to open the door
Mm,
for people. I don't give a damn what they say. But it's confusing. And what is the man? And right now in the West, what I don't like is this. And I don't agree with Andrew Tate on a lot of things, but I do agree that there's an attack with men, like
yeah,
this the
true, true.
demasculation of men. I see it on television, and I don't want to get into the transgender thing,
Yeah.
but again, because that's a heavily controversial
That's a,
topic.
that's
But
a, that's exact. That's a big topic on its own.
yeah, but men should be men. Men need to be masculine, and men need to protect. And that's my generation. And when I see young men being told the opposite on their phones and with influencers, I can understand the confusion. They don't know what's offensive. They don't know how to behave. I would urge them to find a good mentor. And also, if you're coming from a good place of a good intent, who gives a shit what people think? If you're opening the door for a woman and she gets mad at you, so what?
Yeah.
Do it anyway. But go with always what feels right, and seek out a mentor. That would be the best. There's plenty of channels, including my own, that talk about that. But again, it's very hard and confusing nowadays. It really is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you ever seen any particular trend or changes in the dating landscape since you started, you know, sharing your experiences? Have you ever seen something like that, like a particular trend or changes?
Particular change. I toward toward the end of my single life, and now it's
Mm,
real prominent now. I saw a change in open relationships. I had a lot of young women who were telling me, "Hey, are you interested in an open relationship?" And again, I didn't care at the moment. I'm like, "Sure." What does that mean? I didn't know what that meant at the time. It's more or less like you have other people that you
yeah.
sleep with and all that. I saw that starting. And then,
Mm,
then I met my fiance and I got off the market. I've been off the market since 2020, but I was dating from 2016, no, 2015 to 2020. So I dated for
wow.
5 years. I saw a huge surge in OnlyFans models, and this happened during COVID, especially here in San Antonio. I'm like, would I date somebody who did that? I'm like, no, but that's so weird that
Mm,
I had to think about that, because before OnlyFans, the only thing you had to worry about is your girl posting sexy pics
yeah.
on IG. That's the only thing you had to worry about. But I saw that those two changes, the option for an open relationship being there or suggested, and the OnlyFans discussion, which again, I wouldn't date anybody who did that. But again, I'm not
Yeah.
going to judge them either. That's your thing, and you have to bring in the money, and good luck to you. But I'm going to go elsewhere.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not built that well. I mean, I had fun with the open relationship piece, but I couldn't do that on a serious note. Like I know there's
Yeah,
Destiny and a few
yeah,
others who have like they're married, but they have like a polyamorous marriage. I'm not wired that way. I couldn't do that.
yeah. That's true. So, like, okay, after divorce, what made you decide to start sharing your experiences and the lessons you learned with others, and how did you transition from being a divorced to helping others in their relationships?
Uh, well, that again, that's another good question. It really happened by accident, really, because I was just on TikTok and I was just uploading movie clips for videos. I didn't know what I was doing. This is like back in 2020, 2021.
Okay.
And again, I was a lot of dating topics were coming up. And I'm like, you know what? I can speak to that. So I just decided to share a story. And the first dating video I ever shared was this woman saying that, like men don't know how to be gentlemen anymore. And I go, oh, that reminds me of a story. I went on a date with this woman and I asked her, can I pick you up? She goes, yeah, you can pick me up. So I went to her house and I got out of the car and knocked on the door. And she opens the door like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm here to pick you up. She was like, you knocked on my door? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, you didn't text me? I'm like, no, was
Uh-uh.
you prefer for me to text you? It's like, no, I'm old school. I knocked on the door. And she goes, oh, that's so nice. And I walked her to her car and I walked her to my car. I'm sorry. And I opened the door for her. She goes, you did not open the door for me. I'm like, she goes, is this prom night? I'm like, what are you talking about? I just opened the door for you. She goes, men don't open doors anymore. I'm like, are you kidding?
Mm,
So she was on cloud nine with those
mm,
two gestures. And I'm like, that's just embedded in me as an older guy. But apparently, those two things just blew her away. And of course, I hooked up with her later because she was so happy about it. But I shared that story, and that was my first viral video. I think that got like 500,000 views of women like, yeah, men don't open
wow.
doors anymore. Men don't knock. And I wasn't intending for that to blow up, but that's what happened. And I'm like, okay, I got plenty of other stories and what to do, what not to do. And then I started sharing advice about marriage because I've been very vocal about this on my marriage piece, where I said I cheated on my ex-wife, and I did because we're going through a bad period in our marriage, and I cheated. And I
Mm,
said, ladies, if you don't want your man to cheat, here are some of the signs to look out for. I put that video out, and that video really blew up. I got like 1 million views,
damn.
and I was the most hated man on TikTok for about a month. But
Wow.
as people were attacking me, I kept saying, yeah, I was a horrible husband. I wasn't attentive, and I own up to that mistake. I don't blame her. I messed up, and she's forgiven me. And this happened 15 years ago, but it happened, and I'm trying to share this mistake I made so people can learn from it. And that's when it
Mm,
really blew up, and that's when I started getting more engagement. So I started just sharing stories from my past, and that's how it all happened.
wow. Okay, so can you share any success stories of individuals or couples who have benefited from your advice or coaching? What transformation have you witnessed, and what lessons can we learn from their experiences?
Have I helped? Have I seen people like benefit from my advice? Is that the question? And have their lives
Yeah,
changed?
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The one thing that shocked me the most was I put up a video like this video was like at 3 million views, and it was me sharing like, you see this guy here, this is me, and when I knew my marriage is over, and it was a horrible picture of me, but I more or less told the story like life. There's life after divorce. You have to be positive and have that hope, and you'll find that life after your divorce. So it's not over. Well, more or less was the message of the video, and that video went viral. And about midnight, I got an instant message on IG on TikTok, and this guy, he told me, I lost everything. My ex-wife cheated on me, and I was about to exit myself, is what he said.
Wow,
And he said he saw my video, and it gave him hope, and he decided not to. And he goes, I wanted you to know that I was going to do that tonight, but you gave me hope. You
wow,
stopped me, and I
wow.
fucking cried. I cried,
Damn.
dude, because I'm thinking it's a TikTok. I'm making TikToks. At the time, the app was for dancing kids and skits,
Yeah,
whatever. I didn't think a TikTok could save a man's life, and I was crying. And I'm like,
damn.
brother, thank you for telling me. If you ever need to talk, let me know. But it shook me up. And to this
Wow,
day, 4 other men. So I've saved 5 lives
wow, wow,
from
wow.
men. and I had no intention of trying, but it did. And I'm getting emotional right now thinking about it, because who would have thought that my mistake and all these, the worst moment of my life and all the hell I went through and rebuilding my life, just sharing those stories could stop a man from
From
doing that.
killing yourself. Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
So it's a
That's
powerful moment,
amazing.
man. And I'm blessed that I have the platform that I do. And I'm glad I made a difference in those men's lives. But like I said, it teared me up when I first saw that.
Yeah. You know, at first I did not also understand the struggles men were going through. I was not around men. I did not even have enough male friends.
Hmm.
So it was when I started listening to I started coming online. I started seeing clips of you know men sharing their issues. I started That's when I said, wow, men are really really going through a lot. And
Yeah.
this year I said, okay, let me just create a platform where I can at least contribute to helping men get better. And that was how I created this platform, the Hard Network. And I don't really have enough experience. I don't really have enough things to share with people. I said, okay, so I'm going to start inviting people that really have what to talk about, to come talk about it on my platform. So um, I'm really grateful that you took time to come and speak to my audience. So thank you so much. So this was a really really great show. What are your last thoughts? What are your last thoughts?
No, like I said, I feel blessed that I have the platform that I do. It wasn't intended to happen this way, but it is. And I'm grateful that young men like yourself, you're 25. Who would ever thought I'd be talking to a 25-year-old who's, built this network of helping young men? You're doing God's work, man. You're doing a wonderful thing. And
Thank
I
you.
know there's a lot of other channels that kind of spew or maybe fuel hate or like a certain stereotype, but there's a lot of young men out there who didn't have father figures, who need that guidance and who need direction. And
Yeah,
I'm blessed to be able to do that in my own way here. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to your audience, because again, you're doing a wonderful thing, and I'm sure this is going to land on the ears of a young man that needs to hear this.
yeah,
And again, I appreciate the invite, man. I know we had some technical difficulties, but I'm glad we stuck it out and talked it out.
yeah. Oh, thank you so much. So guys, if you come back to listen to watch the video, make sure you subscribe to her Rudy's YouTube. I think I put the link in the description.
Rude
Follow
advice.
him
Mhm.
on Yeah, Rude Advice. Yeah, follow him on Instagram too. The link is also in the description. He's doing a lot of good things. Follow him on TikTok too. Rudy
Yeah,
underscore A.
Rude advice. All the links
Yeah,
are in my YouTube channel.
everything
You
are
can see
there.
there.
So follow him, do you also do mentorship and one-on-one coaching and stuff?
Yes, I do. Not as much as I did in the past, because I just have a baby now. I have a brand new son, 8 month old.
Oh
So it's kind of,
wow.
my hands are pretty much busy with my fiance. So I still do it. I'm very, I filter out the requests, but if the one's obviously needed, I'll be there.
All right, so you heard it from Rudy. So, guys, I'll catch you on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. EST. So, Rudy, thank you for coming and peace.
Pleasure.